Man, sorry for this one being published a little bit late. I was trying to process that Jim Benning press conference a few minutes ago, and I was just kind of like, okay, I really want to re-watch this and re-digest everything he said, so I'm gonna go out there and make a video now about Patrik Laine, then re-watch the Benning thing, then make another video about the Vancouver Canucks, because, yeah, we kind of need to talk about that. So, this video, which is giving me a little bit of a break from thinking about the tragedy that is the Vancouver hockey team, we're going over Patrik Laine in this one, and Aaron Portzlin's recent Columbus Blue Jackets mailbag from a few days ago. Now, by a few days ago, I mean November 5th, so it's been, like, almost 2 weeks. But the thing about Patrik Laine and this entire situation over here is that the story hasn't really changed. Patrik Laine has been injured since the beginning of November. The last game he played was against Colorado, and if you take a look at how everything has gone down, yes, he has indeed had himself some form of a bounce-back year in terms of the numbers he has put up. He's got 10 points in 9 games on the year, but there still are some concerns that I wanted to highlight that are also touched upon in this Athletic piece. Now, because The Athletic is paid for material, we're not going over onto this article and screenshotting it. We're going over onto NHLTradeTalk.com. This is the title, and admittedly, it is kind of hyperbolized. The Blue Jackets are still contemplating a Laine trade. That is not really the case verbatim here. It's a lot more abstract what they talk about in the Athletic article, but this Trade Talk article kind of summarizes what is said by Portzlin. According to Aaron Portzlin of The Athletic, the Blue Jackets have not decided what to do with the contracts of a few of their pending free agents, including Patrik Laine, who is having a bounce-back year. A former regular 30-40 goal player, Laine was not himself last season and joined the Blue Jackets after a trade from the Jets. There was talk that his stay with the Blue Jackets might not be a long one. But with former coach John Tortorella out of the picture now, the version of Laine the fans got to know over the previous few seasons seemed to have returned. Now that is indeed a very accurate point. There were tweets spanning back to even this summer, saying that the Blue Jackets were honestly not really too sure as to how things would work out long-term with that team. Here's a tweet from July. The Blue Jackets and Patrik Laine have both agreed to wait to discuss a long-term contract extension until after the start of the season should both sides be interested in one. Kekalainen said he would like to see a bounce-back year out of Laine. We also had ourselves some more rumors from other parts of the media. This is what Portzlin said on SiriusXM Radio. There are those in the Blue Jackets team, including players, that would prefer a trade. He does mention that even though the Blue Jackets are not actively trying to trade him, there are some people that might believe that that would be a proper way to go about things. So, before the season began, there was already somewhat of an uncertain future with Laine in Columbus, especially with the fact that he is an expiring RFA making $7.5 million this season. However, if we go back to our piece that we're reading from NHL Trade Talk and look at what Portzlin has to say, the Columbus Blue Jackets journalist writes, "There's always long-term planning, but I don't think that they've mapped out what they're going to do before March 21st. He adds that the Blue Jackets have too many forwards and that there are big decisions ahead for this franchise, one that is partly looking past the right now and wants to build a younger team that can compete down the road." Here's another quote after talking about how Laine has indeed improved this season. If this is a 40-50 goal scorer who likes Columbus and fits well within their system, they would be foolish to trade him away. But if there are more seasons like 2020, 2021 in the future, you can't have that. It's a tough call. There's a reason Jarmo and the Hockey Ops members are paid handsomely. I don't have the knowledge of them even having preliminary talks towards a long-term deal. It's still very early in the season, but you can start to see a pathway of how it could work that he stays here long-term. Stay tuned. And so, the uncertainty with Patrik Laine in this respect and his long-term career in Columbus is less about the idea of a trade itself. Oh, he's not a fit with our team, therefore we trade him. He's over a point per game right now, but he is injured, which has given the spotlight and the opportunities to other guys in this team, like Chinakhov, like Cole Sillinger, a lot of younger pieces that are in here doing their thing and actually putting up significant numbers at the time of recording this audio. For Patrik Laine, you still have to question how likely it is that you never see a season like 2020-2021 again. Because if you're going to go out there and pay this guy more than what he's making right now, which is 7.5 AAV, you cannot have that bad year. You can't. Like, it is not an option at this point. Something that you can foreseeably project towards happening, because if you're getting $6 million, you cannot be playing the way that Laine did last year. So, the way that things have gone this season so far, even though it's good, you like to see the point-per-game numbers, the fact that he has stepped out of the lineup for a while is concerning, because it limits the exposure that you have to seeing this guy this season, and it makes it a little bit more uncertain if you wanted to project into next year, the year after that, and 2 years and 3 years into the future, how well Laine is going to be able to perform. It's why Portzline even indicates here that he doesn't hear anybody within the Blue Jackets organization discussing whether or not a long-term deal, or even just a deal in general, would be the right move right now. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's certain. Nobody has an idea as to where they want to go, because it's just too early. They don't know what they're going to get. Now, there are two options here when Laine returns to the lineup and starts playing hockey again. Either A, he comes out of the gates swinging, scoring goals, he gets 30 on the year, he gets, 40 assists or whatever, he is under a point per game, and all of a sudden it's a lot easier for the Blue Jackets to say, okay, well, you were all right, maybe we give you a 3-4 year deal and you give him, $8 million a season, because we want you to play like that point per game, 30-40 goal player we know you can be. If Laine comes out here and blows all the expectations out of the water, let's say he wins the Rocket Richard this season, after missing an extended amount of time, he gets 60 goals in 70-something games played, he's under a goal a game. It's a lot easier if you get that season out of Patrik Laine to say, okay, screw it, long-term, 8 years, here's $10 million a season. What you did was so astronomically good that we're going to lock you down, because we want even just a fraction of what you did this year, next year, and the year after that, etc. Or the final option is Patrik Laine goes out here, he returns from his injury, and he plays at the same level that he did last season. Which I don't want to say is likely, heck, even just better than what he did last season, slightly better, is something I don't want to say is likely. But last year, he was a -29, he had 21 points in 45 games played, and the way he was playing, it was just completely tuned out. It was strange with the coaching, it was strange with the lines, he was playing on the fourth gosh darn line for some nights, and you really did not get the best out of Laine. Had there have been a trade for Patrik Laine at any time last year, or in the offseason at least, you would have been really selling low in the guy, which made things a lot more difficult to justify even doing a trade back then, because he would have been making $7.5 million the next year after coming off a half-point per game performance. Like, I'm sorry, but 40 points in a year is not a $7.5 million player. So, for Patrik Laine, if he comes back and he is not the same player that he was in the first 9 games of this season, in a bad way, at least, we're gonna have some very difficult decisions made at the helm of the Columbus Blue Jackets that either involve trading him away because, okay, he's an RFA, a team's gonna have his rights, and maybe they think they can go out there and get a better version of this guy, or just doing something else with him, signing him to a shorter term, even cheaper contract, which I don't even know if that's a possibility either, because if all the rumors we had been hearing about Patrik Laine and his willingness to stick around in Columbus are true, then a bad season and bad money is not going to help him stick around anymore too. So maybe we might have another trade scenario, I don't know, but that's way too far off into the future. He has to recover first and he has to play poorly for that to happen. I hope both of those things contradict each other. I hope he recovers soon and I hope he plays a lot better because, the league is better with good stars doing their thing and actually scoring and being the best versions of themselves. For Patrik Laine, we saw the best version of himself earlier in his career, 30, 40 goal seasons at 18, 19, and 20 years old. We need to see the best out of Laine here in order for the Blue Jackets to actually make their choice, because right now they're still uncertain as to where they're going to go with this player. So, talk to me in the comments what do you think about Patrik Laine and the uncertainty of his future in Columbus. Do you think a trade is in the mix? Do you think he's going to come back swinging around, getting goals like crazy and actually scoring again? Because I personally have always been on the more optimistic side of Laine in his development, but let me know in the comments where you lie on that scale. Do you think Patrik Laine is going to stick around long term? If he does, what is the contract that he gets next? Is it just one long-term deal, or do you see several bridge deals before he gets a long-term deal? Okay, he does all right in 21 21-22, so we'll give him a 3-year contract at, I don't know, $7.5 or $8 million. And then he comes back out here, he gets a 50-goal year, he gets a 55-goal year, he gets, I don't know, a Maurice Richard winning year next season, and then he gets another contract that's bigger. Let me know in the comments on your thoughts if you enjoyed this video. Trolls 99, and bye.